Nobody needs to chain a man who chains himself every morning before breakfast. Look at your first hour today, the reach for the phone before your eyes fully opened. The feed, the checking, the noise poured into a mind that hadn't had one thought of its own yet. None of that is an accident, and none of it is your weakness. You are living inside a machine, and the machine has exactly one product. A distracted, comfortable, harmless version of you. So today we tear it down, component by component, the slot machine in your pocket, the outrage engine, the comfort economy, the rebellion they sell you, and then the last panel comes off, the question you've been circling for years. Who is actually running this thing? And I'll warn you now, the answer is stranger than the conspiracy you're imagining, and far more useful, because that answer is also the exit. Stay to the end. Here's what should actually disturb you. The machine doesn't use force. Force creates resistance, and resistance creates strong men, and strong men are terrible for business. So the machine uses pleasure. It doesn't block your potential. It makes your potential feel optional, endlessly postponable, always one more scroll away. The old tyrants took men's freedom and got revolutions for their trouble. The new system takes nothing. It just offers and offers and offers, until a man hands over his attention, his edge, his decade, voluntarily smiling with his thumb. Machiavelli saw the core of this 500 years early in a different costume. He warned that the prince who hands his defense to mercenaries is already ruined, because mercenaries serve whoever pays them, perform loyalty in peacetime, and desert or rob you the moment real war arrives. Now count your own mercenaries, the app that manages your boredom, the feed that supplies your opinions, the algorithm that curates your desires, the entire rented army garrisoned inside your head, serving you, you assume, except every one of those soldiers is paid by someone else. And Machiavelli's law has not aged a single day. Arms that another man pays for will always, in the decisive hour, fight for the man who pays them. And the teardown order is the kill order, because each component shields the one behind it. You can't reclaim your aim while the slot schedule owns your hands. You can't rebuild capacity while the outrage engine owns your alarm. Strip them in sequence, and by the time the last panel comes off, you won't just see the operator's chair. You'll understand why seeing it changes everything about how you fight. One thing before we open it up. The goal here isn't to make you throw your phone in a river and move to the woods. That's a fantasy, and fantasies are just another product. The goal is colder and more real, to make you the most expensive man in the world to farm. Before we start the teardown, drop 6 words in the comments. My mind is not for rent. Type it, because by the end, you'll know exactly who's been paying the rent, and exactly how to evict them. Aaron is 41 and considers himself disciplined. Gym 4 mornings a week, nothing to drink on weekdays. One Sunday, his phone showed him the screen time report. 9 hours and 6 minutes a day on average. He stared at it, ran the math on a year, and put the phone face down like it had said something obscene. Nothing about Aaron is weak. Something about the machine is very, very good. Here's its first component. Number 1. The slot machine you carry everywhere. Start with the gesture you make 200 times a day without noticing. The pull, the tap, the refresh. Sometimes there's something good waiting, a message, a like, something funny. Usually there's nothing. And here's the question that opens the whole machine. Why does the nothing not stop you? You check, find nothing, and check again 11 minutes later. Any rational system would have quit. You don't quit. You can't. And the reason you can't was discovered in a laboratory decades before your phone existed. In the 1950s, the psychologist B.F. Skinner ran his famous conditioning experiments at Harvard, animals in chambers, pressing levers for rewards. And he found something that should be printed on the box of every smartphone sold. When the reward came predictably, every press, or every 10th press, the animals worked steadily and stopped when full. But when the reward came on an unpredictable schedule, sometimes the 3rd press, sometimes the 30th, no pattern, the behavior changed completely. The animals pressed compulsively, relentlessly, far beyond need, long after rewards stopped coming at all. Unpredictable reward, Skinner showed, produces the most persistent, most compulsive behavior known to behavioral science. It's the mathematics of the casino, and it is precisely the mathematics of your feed. You are not weak. You are a nervous system, standing in front of the most perfectly tuned variable reward machine ever built, and it was tuned by people who read Skinner very, very carefully. Here's the mechanism in your actual day. Every pull to refresh is a lever press. Every notification is a maybe. The feed deliberately mixes gold and garbage, because pure gold would satisfy you, and satisfaction ends sessions. The unpredictability is not a flaw they're working on. The unpredictability is the entire engine. Your phone is a slot machine that pays out in tiny, worthless jackpots of novelty, and like every slot machine, its business model is simple. The house keeps what you feed it, and what you feed it is ours. Picture the two men on the same train platform. One is pressing the lever, pull, scroll, pull, a man visibly operating a machine that is visibly operating him. The other stands there with his thoughts, bored, and inside that boredom, an idea is quietly assembling that will matter to him next month. Multiply that platform by 10 years, that's the entire divergence of two lives, and it happened 4 minutes at a time. So here's the first directive, and it's mechanical, not moral. You cannot out-discipline a variable reward schedule with willpower. Skinner's animals prove you can't. So stop trying and start rigging the machine instead. Kill every notification that is not a human being trying to reach you specifically. Make the phone grayscale, ugly, boring, and keep it out of arm's reach by default. Because every foot of distance is friction, and friction is the only thing that beats the schedule. You're not quitting the casino, you're just refusing to sleep on its floor. But the lever is only the delivery system. The next component is what they load into it. Number 2, the outrage engine. Ask the machines one honest question about everything it shows you. Not, is this true, and not, is this important? The machine has never once asked those. The machine asks only, will this keep him here? And decades of ruthless testing have returned a clear answer about what keeps humans here. Fear keeps them here, anger keeps them here, threat, outrage, tribal insult, the enemy doing something enraging again. Calm does not keep them here, nuance does not keep them here, so the machine, with no malice at all, simply feeds the winner. And the winner is your alarm system, rung all day, every day by strangers competing for the privilege. Notice what this does to a man over years, because you've felt every stage of it. Your threat detector, built for a world where alarming things were rare and nearby, now fires hundreds of times a day about things that are distant and unactionable. You carry the physiology of a man under siege, the tension, the vigilance, the exhaustion, without one actual siege event in your zip code. You know everything that's wrong everywhere, and can affect none of it, which is the exact recipe for the modern condition: informed helplessness, maximum agitation, zero agency, and here's the cold part. That state is not a malfunction of the machine. That state is the product working. An agitated man keeps scrolling. A calm man closes the app and builds something. Here's the deeper cost, the one nobody bills you for. Attention is aim. A man becomes what he repeatedly attends to. His mind takes the shape of its diet, and the machine has been choosing your diet for years. Feed a man's focus into an engine of distant outrages, and you produce something very specific. A man fluent in every controversy and a stranger to his own 5-year plan. Furious about 10 things he cannot touch, numb to the 3 he can. Machiavelli would recognize the maneuver instantly, because keeping men's eyes fixed on distant spectacles while their near ground goes untended is the oldest governance trick in his entire world. The only update is the delivery speed. Picture yourself at the end of a heavy scroll day. Inventory it honestly. Heart rate up, opinion of humanity down, and then the audit question. What in your actual life, your body, your work, your family, your money, changed because of the 2 hours of alarm you just metabolized? Nothing changed. You paid 2 hours and full physiological alarm and purchased nothing. Now imagine a store that sold that. You're imagining the feed. So here's the second directive. The AIM audit. For 1 week, apply a single filter to everything competing for your attention. Can I act on this? If yes, act or schedule the action. If no, it doesn't get your alarm system. No matter how outrageous, because outrage without agency is just rent paid to someone else's engine. Reclaim the AIM and point it at the 5-mile radius where your actual life happens. That radius is starving while you guard the whole world. And there's a quieter theft running inside this engine, worth naming before we move on. The outrage machine doesn't just rent your alarm system. It supplies your positions. Notice how many of your strongest opinions arrived fully assembled, in the exact phrasing everyone else in your feed uses, complete with the approved enemies and the approved heroes. You didn't build those opinions. You were issued them, the way soldiers are issued boots. And a man wearing issued opinions is doubly farmed, once for his attention and once for his allegiance, marched into battles designed upstream, on behalf of interests he's never audited. The test is simple and slightly humiliating. Pick your 3 hottest takes and try to reconstruct how you arrived at each one. The evidence you weighed, the counter-arguments you personally defeated. If you can't find the work, there was no work. The conclusion was delivered, pre-cooked, by an engine that knew exactly which tribe's meal you'd swallow. So add one rule to the audit: no opinion gets defended out loud until it's been earned in private. Now stop, because before the next panel comes off, the machine deserves one moment of exposure that only you can perform. Here it is, and most of you will scroll past because the machine trained you to. Open your screen time report right now, the real number this week's. Look at it, multiply it by 52, divide by 24, and see the number of full days per year. Now post the number in the comments, the actual number, because here's what I've learned about that number. Every system in the modern world is built so that you never say it out loud. It's tracked but buried, known but never spoken, a whole civilization quietly agreeing not to ask each other the one question that would break the spell. So break it. Below, in public, post the days per year, and then answer the only follow-up that matters. What were you planning to do with your one life before the machine made you this offer? Number 3, the comfort economy and the softness that gets engineered into you. Distraction takes your hours. This component takes something worse, your capacity. Look at the great project of the modern economy from 10,000 feet. Almost every product of the last decade sells one single thing under different logos. The removal of friction, food without cooking, answers without thinking, entertainment without effort, warmth without work, everything one tap closer, one step easier, one discomfort fewer. And each removal in isolation is wonderful. Nobody's arguing for suffering as decoration. But run the whole system forward 20 years and ask the question the brochure never asks. What happens to an organism when every muscle of difficulty is systematically unloaded? You already know, because it's the oldest law in your own body. The unloaded muscle doesn't rest, it atrophies. Capacity is use. The capacity to endure boredom dies in a man who never has to be bored. The capacity to sit with hunger, cold, effort, uncertainty, all of it quietly liquidates in an environment engineered to ensure he never must. And here's where it stops being a wellness observation and becomes a power observation. A man's leverage in every negotiation of his life, work, business, relationships, crisis, is exactly proportional to what he can withstand. The man who can't tolerate discomfort can be steered by the mere threat of discomfort. He'll take the bad deal to avoid the awkward conversation. Keep the shrinking job to avoid the uncertain leap. Fold in every standoff, because folding is one tap and standing costs friction, and he's a man whose friction tolerance was bought from him years ago, one convenience at a time. Machiavelli watched this exact process consume republics. His deepest fear for any state was never the powerful enemy. It was the long peace, the ease, the soft years that dissolved the virtue of a people until they could no longer defend what their harder grandfathers had built. He wrote constantly about how prosperity, unguarded, manufactures exactly the citizens who will lose it. The comfort economy is that process, privatized, personalized, and delivered to your door in under 30 minutes. Picture the two men at 40, same starting talent. One let the economy remove every friction it offered to remove, and he is now, in the precise sense, fragile, a man whose day collapses if the coffee order is wrong, whose year collapses if the market dips. The other paid retail for voluntary friction the whole time. The cold morning training, the hard fasting hours, the difficult books, the uncomfortable conversations held on purpose. Same world, same offers. One man let the machine choose his difficulty level. The other understood that difficulty level is the one setting a man must never outsource. So here's the third directive: buy back friction, deliberately, daily, like the strategic asset it is. One physical hardship you chose, one mental effort with no entertainment value, one comfort refused every single day. Small is fine, chosen is everything. The machine will keep offering to carry you. Let it carry your groceries. Never let it carry your weight. And see the cold opportunity hiding inside all this softness. Because there is one, and it's enormous. Every year the machine runs, tolerance for difficulty gets rarer across the whole population. And everything rare gets more valuable. That's just price. The man who can sit with boredom is already unusual. The man who can grind at one hard thing for a year without applause is becoming genuinely scarce. The man who can hear no, absorb friction, endure the uncomfortable meeting, hold a standard when holding costs something, that man is appreciating like waterfront land, not because he improved, but because the surrounding supply keeps collapsing. Your grandfather's ordinary toughness is your generation's superpower at the exact same absolute level. Which means the comfort economy, read correctly, is quietly running the greatest arbitrage of your lifetime. It's paying you, in relative advantage, for every convenience you decline. Decline accordingly. And the fourth component is the machine's masterpiece, because it's the part that catches the men who see through the first three. Before we open this component, my cards on the table. I think most self-improvement content is the machine's most profitable department. And yes, I'm saying that while making self-improvement content, the difference between medicine and merchandise is whether you close the app and act. Hold that test against this channel too. Now look at the gift shop, number 4, the pre-packaged rebellion. Because the machine's designers are not stupid and they saw you coming. They know a percentage of men eventually notice the slot machine, the outrage engine, the softness project. They know those men get angry and go looking for the exit. So the machine, in its most elegant move, built exits. Gift shops shaped like exits. An entire wing of the machine dedicated to selling you the feeling of having escaped the machine. Look at the catalog, the rebellion aesthetic, sold as content, where you watch other men be disciplined. Watch other men train at dawn and build empires, hours of watching, which registers in your brain as kinship with the grind while your own barbell gathers dust. The identity purchase, where seeing through the matrix becomes a personality you wear, a vocabulary, a follow list, a costume of the awakened man, worn while living a life identical to the sleeping one's. The dopamine detox that lasts a weekend and gets announced on the very platform it renounced. The productivity system collected like the stamps of a man who is always preparing to begin. Every one of these is the same product in different packaging. The sensation of the exit, sold by the house, redeemable only inside the casino. Here's the mechanism, and it's the machine's deepest insight into you. Feeling like you're changing is neurologically cheaper than changing, and almost as satisfying in the short run. Consuming rebellion delivers the identity payment up front. You get to feel like the disciplined man today, without the decade of invoices actual discipline sends. And so the machine happily radicalizes you, happily sells you wolf content and warrior content and escape the system content, because it has run the numbers and knows the truth. The watching man is farmable, no matter what he watches. Yes, including this, especially this, if all you ever do with it is watch. This video is component 4, the moment it becomes another episode in a series you consume instead of a set of orders you execute. The machine doesn't fear your awareness. Awareness is a genre now. The machine fears exactly one thing, and it's the only thing it cannot monetize. A man who closes the app and does the work in silence. Picture the two viewers finishing this exact video. One feels the surge, drops the affirmation, saves it to a playlist called Mindset next to 200 unwatched brothers, and pulls the lever for the next hit of feeling like a future king. The other closes the app mid-outro, walks away from the phone, and executes one directive tonight, badly, imperfectly in the real world. The machine keeps the first man forever. The second man just became statistically invisible to it, and invisibility to the machine has another name. Freedom. So here's the fourth directive, the ratio rule. From today, 1:1, 1 hour of consuming anything about improvement earns 1 hour of executed improvement, paid in advance next time, no credit extended. Break the ratio and the content stops, all of it, until the debt is worked off. Enforce that ratio for 90 days, and you'll discover something almost funny. You needed 1/10 of the content and 10 times the reps. Everyone does. The library was never the gym. And now the last panel, the one covering the operator's seat. Number 5, the operator. So who runs it? Here's where every man's mind goes, and honestly, where it deserves to go, because everything you've seen tonight looks designed. The slot schedule, tuned, the outrage, curated, the softness, sold, the rebellion, prepackaged. Design implies designer, and so the imagination furnishes a room, somewhere high up, where the men who run the machine decide what you'll want next. And here is the strangest, most important sentence in this video. Open the door to that room and it's empty. There is no operator, and what's actually in the chair is worse, and better than any villain. What's in the chair is the thing you learned 2 videos ago. The rent. The machine wasn't built by a council of tyrants who met and chose your weakness. It was compiled over decades by 1 million ordinary decisions, each following its own local incentive. An engineer paid to lift a number lifts the number. A company paid per hour of attention buys the science of attention. An algorithm rewarded for engagement discovers outrage the way water discovers downhill. No intention required, just gradient. Thousands of small rents, each defensible alone, compounding into a system none of its builders would have voted for, and which now trains its builders too, who check their phones at dinner like everyone else. Farmed by their own farm, the machine has no head to cut off. It's a headless thing made of incentives, optimizing forever for the one metric it was fed, your time on the lever, with the total indifference of gravity. Now feel what this answer does, because it does 2 things at once. It kills the conspiracy, which stings, because a conspiracy would have been comforting. An enemy has a face. A face can be fought. Defeating him would be a plot with an ending. Sorry, no face, but watch what it hands you in exchange. If there's no operator, there's no one to defeat. No revolution to await, no rigged fight against a superior foe. There is only a design, an environment optimizing for your capture, and against an environment, one move works, the move that has always worked. You change what the environment can get from you. The machine is a farmer with no soul and no plan, harvesting whatever grows easily. It cannot hate you, target you, or pursue you. The moment your attention becomes expensive, defended by friction, ruled by the aim audit, hardened by chosen difficulty, converted into execution, the machine flows around you like water around a stone and farms the next man. That's the whole exit. It was never a door. It was a price become too expensive to farm. And put Machiavelli's mercenary law over the whole thing one last time, because now it closes. The mercenaries in your head were never evil. They were mercenaries, doing exactly what mercenaries do, serving the paymaster, and the paymaster was never you. So the answer was never to hate the soldiers. The answer is the one Machiavelli gave the prince. Arm yourself, raise your own troops, your own disciplines, your own attention, your own difficulty. Forces that answer to no one's rent but yours. A man defended by his own arms, Machiavelli said, is the only man who is ever actually secure. He wrote that about states. It was always about you. So here's the final directive, and it's the smallest one in the video, which is the point. Tonight, before the feeling fades, execute one component's directive in the physical world. Kill the notifications, or run one aim audit, or take one chosen hardship, or pay 1 hour of execution debt. 1. Because the machine's entire model rests on a single bet, repeated 1 billion times a day, that the feeling this video gave you will discharge itself as feeling and convert to nothing. Beat the bet once, tonight, and you'll have learned the only fact the machine cannot afford you to learn. It was never strong, you were just always still watching, so look at the machine, disassembled on the floor, the slot schedule in your pocket, running Skinner's mathematics on your nervous system, beaten not by willpower but by friction. The outrage engine, renting your alarm system for spectacles you can't act on, beaten by the aim audit. The comfort economy, buying your capacity one convenience at a time, beaten by friction purchased back on purpose. The rebellion gift shop, selling the feeling of exit to the men who noticed, beaten by the 1-to-1 ratio of watching to doing. And the empty chair, the headless farmer made of compounding rents, beaten the only way environments are ever beaten, by becoming the most expensive thing in the field. Here's what changes when you run these disciplines, and I mean weeks, not hours. The fog lifts first, that background static you'd stopped noticing, gone, and your own thoughts audible again, some of them 10 years overdue. Then the time returns, whole evenings, whole weekends, appearing out of nowhere, except it was never nowhere. It was the ledger refunding you. And then the strangest change, the one former farm animals report with wonder. The urgency dies. The feeling that you're missing something, behind on something, needed somewhere in the feed, simply stops. And in the silence where it lived, you find the thing it was installed to cover. Your actual life, patient, unbuilt, still waiting, still possible. Machiavelli's final word on mercenaries was that a wise prince prefers to lose with his own arms than to win with another's, because borrowed victories dissolve and owned defeats teach. Take that all the way in. An evening of your own boredom is worth more than 1,000 hours of rented stimulation, because the boredom is yours, and everything you build inside it is yours, and nothing the machine ever handed you was. Say it one more time, and put it in the comments, and then, for once, prove it. My mind is not for rent, evict accordingly. If this one cut the wires, you're one of us now. Subscribe, and stay close, because there's one hook left, the deepest one, the one the machine itself runs on. And it isn't dopamine, it's approval. Your need to be liked is a leash, and there are hands on it every single day. At work, at home, online, hands that know exactly how to steer a man by his hunger to be thought well of. The next video is about that leash, who's holding yours, and how the men who slipped it became impossible to steer. It's the last video in this series, and it's the lock on everything. Don't miss it. Rig the slot machine, audit the aim, buy back the friction, execute more than you watch, and walk through the farm so expensive to harvest that the machine, headless and patient, simply turns to someone still cheap.